Hello Tubesters, it's Gav and welcome to another one of my videos. Today it's the, I don't want to call it, I suppose, a final reveal, but it's the commission I've been working on for ages, and it's not a lot as commissions go, but it's just taken me ages. Anyway, forgiving and understanding client. When I paint for people, I always tell them I've obviously got severe PTSD and other stuff related to it, and the last couple of years has been fairly tough on me head. Nothing to do with COVID. You know, when you've got these type of things, you know, the stress of COVID doesn't really make that much more difference. It's just been, it goes up and down, and it's just been hard work, which is why you see a lot of stuff on my channel, lots of different stuff. It tends to, my mind just, do this, Gav, let's have a go at this, and that's why you see such a variety of stuff. And as I say, before I paint for anybody, they have to know, if they don't already, I've got problems. I don't paint I don't have deadlines. You just send me your figures. They don't get pushed back, they're all in a queue, you know, and they just get painted when that one's done, and the client gets photographs and stuff, and obviously as I'm doing it, they get told when it's started, obviously when it's coming to the end, all that stuff. I'm not saying that as an advert, I just mean it has taken a long time. These are done also in a basic non-metallic metal. If you don't know what non-metallic means, it just means I haven't used metallic paint. I've done, if you think I haven't got one, I've got a load behind me but not in front of me. The Osprey books, again, if you're not into military stuff, you might not know what Osprey is, but it's a reference guide that have been going out since the early 70s, and they get artists to draw, in this case French Napoleonic Infantry or Imperial Dragoons, French stuff, and obviously that artist isn't going to use metallic paint in their watercolours or whatever they use. It's usually watercolours, I believe, and they, as artists have done for centuries, they replicate it in different forms of paint colours, you know, greys for steel, you know, different greys with added blues in and things like this. So I do a fairly basic non-metallic metal. It's nothing awe-inspiring. These are commissions. As slow as it takes me to paint them, the client doesn't want them. It's not so I'm painting some jaw-dropping one-off piece, you know, that's going in a competition, or you know, the client just wants their stuff. But this particular client happened to like what I'd done on some other non-metallic that I painted, and he wanted the same, roughly. All my non-metallic changes literally job by job, because you can never do exactly the same. You have a basic paint idea of what you know, the same paint you're going to use, but it does vary. You know, the eagles on top of the flagpoles, they're all slightly different. It just depends how I've decided to paint them at the time. Take a breath, Gav. So we've got 28mm. The figures, what we call front rank. So they were from a company called Front Rank, but they've recently been, the guy that owned and run Front Rank, and I believe sculpting them all, he's sold them on sold it all on now, and retired, to Gripping Beast, I believe, here in the UK, should you want Front Rank figures. They're fairly old schoolish in the sense of they were starting to put some reinforcement packs, as they were called, just to bring a bit more up to date. They're lovely figures, and they're nice and chunky. They take paint really well. There's a few now showing the signs of age, I believe, in moulds and that, but even still, they're not as bad as companies that I've seen put out with almost new figures. But they're very, very nice figures. Horses are always nice, but they are, I say, static. There's a feel to them, in my opinion, that is slightly more old school. But you've got a lot of facial area to work with, and they're just really nice figures. But as I say, they may not have maybe as much dynamic pose as some other companies produce or have been producing in the last few years. So yeah, metal 28mm, based on MDF. I can't remember the sizes, it didn't really matter to you. I think they're based for Army, General de Brigade, General de Brigade rule book for the war game. That's about it really. Painted in acrylics. Couple of coats of varnish on them. I use Galleria, so this is my varnish of choice. But I put it through an airbrush, so I cut it a bit with, I actually put a couple of drops of thinner, actual lacquer thinner in there. It seems to work for me, gives them a nice flat finish. Sometimes I just put the water in there, but yeah. I've never had through the airbrush, I've never had them go shiny or white yet with moisture in the air or whatever they call it. Humidity was the word I was after. So yeah, let's go down to the bench and the tufts are made by me. Just sanded over base, so sand mixed with PVA, another layer of watered down PVA on top to seal the sand. It also doesn't suck the paint in and you don't waste as much paint. Also makes them fairly rock hard, keeping the figures in. And the figures are obviously glued down with I actually glue mine down with PVA rather than, I used to use CA glue, but I use PVA now, quick acting 10-minute PVA, because I do find that by the time you seal them in with sand and PVA, then another PVA mix on top, it just makes them go rock hard. And then yeah, because I use tufts now, if you're going to do the tufts like I've done here, I make my own tufts, and it takes ages, and it takes even more ages to put them all down one by one. But if you're going to go down that method and you're buying tufts, it would be a blooming expensive method to use it. I just think it looks a bit more natural, that's all, and it's a road I've gone down in recent years. So let's go down to the bench at last and take a look. Right guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. There are photographs at the end. None of the infantry are in particular company order, I've just plonked them down. But it was basically the last photographs I was showing to the client. He's not going to be fussed as what company order they're in. He will be when they reach his tabletop battlefield, but not for just photographs. So I won't go through them all. They're all much the same. Let's turn around carefully and drop them. That's a Voltigeur company, so those of you guys that don't know, this would be the light company that would go out in the front and skirmish. As I say, they are very nice figures. A couple of them, I don't believe on the infantry, I believe it was the Dragoons, there was a bit of pitting. And I believe the drummers as well on here. The drummers were a bit hit and miss. So there's a big gob of metal near the arm and the drum down there, which I'll have to carve out. So do check out for that. It seemed to be more pronounced on one drummer to the next really. There's one that hardly had any, and the other two were at various stages of cannonball size. Slag metal. I've got the drummers in the Imperial livery. Again, for all me modelling bodies that don't really get any of this, they changed in about around 1812, was it? Or 1810, can't remember, 1812 I think. The drummers used to have literally whatever the colonel decided would be the colour of the drummer. Drummers are normally, like say in a British Army regiment, they wear, as you know, we wear the red coat. Well, it's reversible in a British drummer, and the French drummers used to be anything the colonel decided. They tried to standardise it by bringing this green uniform in. They're not as light when I'm looking through the viewfinder. It doesn't matter to me actually. They're quite, be a nice faded blue that, but they are a bit darker under the, you know, off the lights, if that makes sense. Done a couple of stripy trousers without going overboard, just to show a bit of difference, because as I say, they're fairly, you know, they're all looking forward. You can get reinforcement packs for some of the units where they have got turned heads and just slightly different, you know, but the client sends me what he wants me to paint. You know, obviously I don't pick them. I don't. I get quite often asked, you know, oh, will you buy them in and that, and oh no, you buy them, you send them in, and I paint what you make sure you add them up right, because quite often I get them where there's not enough, with short figures or whatever. Which is not a major. They can all be purchased in the UK. They're all UK. Even if I'm painting for somebody overseas, you know, obviously they can all be painted. All purchased, I should say, from UK suppliers. Let's just move it forward. One thing I don't like on these smaller bases for this particular rule system is it's a nightmare to get horses on. They still don't sit properly front and back without catching. And I do my best, but I really struggle with that. As I say, there'll be photographs, hopefully a bit more close up. GMB colours, again sent to me by the client. I also use GMB. There are other suppliers of flags out there. As I've said to you guys before, don't ever call the flag a colour of flag in the British Army. You'll get beasted all around the parade ground. We call them colours in the British Army. I've not put emblems on these because I just thought with the surface area I had to play with these guys, it wouldn't look right. I mean, I've added a few dots to, you know, the back, and like some, they're not even proper eagles, they're just a rough shape of the eagle type of thing on the tails of the infantry. And you know, with these guys, you know, we just have a few dots on there to show the badges on the tailbacks. But I've not tried fitting a emblem into the corner. I just thought it wouldn't look right for me. So they weren't on the other unit that I've painted, because all these have been painted before. It's some quite large units that the clients got. So I've really more or less painted what I painted for him last time. Which is always a bugbear, well, not a bugbear, but you're trying to roughly keep the them looking the same. Horses, on these particular horses, especially after a couple of coats of varnish, because I wanted to go for a particular look, the actual highlights aren't as strong on these, which, to be honest with you, close up out of the lights it's not too bad, but under a light you tend to lose some of the highlights on the horses on that type. Whereas say if you're looking at your black horse there, that's not too bad. The same with the brown one. Again, under the lights they're a bit more subdued. So there we go. 2 units of French line infantry. 1 unit of French Guard Cavalry, and they're the Empress Dragoons. Usually you can tell the Empress, here we go, I'm going to get shot down to hell now. The Empress Dragoons as well, you can tell a lot of things, but the Empress Dragoons, apart from having their leopard skin covers over, they've got, I don't believe these are as sharp down as they would have been on a normal helmet, but the helmet on the, pick one up Gavin, one moment, the helmet on these, on an Empress Dragoon compared to a normal line Dragoon, that the helmet is the Minerva type, and it does go down more, where this doesn't really show it really, it shows more like but they would be normally a bit more dot build, if that makes sense. But yeah, classical would also make good, as it's a Minerva. Right, there we go. Dotted all over the shop. Send these off to the client. tell him the good news. We have got postal strikes. It's postal strike today, so we could have had these about a few days ago, but my wife's told me to hold off as she delivers them to the postman, so or the post office. She's told me to wait, so they're finally getting wrapped up in bubble wrap for him today, all packaged up, and hopefully they will be going out tomorrow or Friday. What have we got coming up? Well, I'm going to be doing some paint and sell stuff at the moment. We've got the plastic, and I've got none I can reach over and show you at the moment, but we've got the plastic Perry 28mm French line infantry, so these guys, but in plastic and in Perry, so they look slightly different. And obviously because they're mine just to paint and sell, I do different stuff with them. So we've almost finished. I'm painting the faces, the flesh at the moment on those guys, and they've just got to have the brass work done and then a clean up, and that's another 6 of the voltigeurs I've done, and then I've just got 6 voltigeurs skirmishing. Sounds like some Christmas carol, that does. And that unit will be done, apart from basing. So that's not far off. I've got the 2 samurai you saw me unbox ages ago. Well, when I'd been priming, I cleaned and primed them, and they needed a bit of fill around the base, because I completely forgot, to be honest with you. Well, I'm doing a 1 in 35 scale Waffen-SS figure at the moment for Kharkov in 1943, and I'm just doing the base on him at the moment, and I'll be using the same fella for that. Don't know why I'm telling you all that, but there you go. So we will have a couple of samurai figures coming up sometime in the week. The Panther is still going on. I ran out of time to paint the trees. I'd made all the trees up. I'm painting the last 4 figures of those at the moment, so you should see. I might do we've got this far just because I want to make a video, but we are literally, a week away probably from a reveal of the little Panther diorama in 1 in 72 scale, stroke 20mm. We've got, what else have we got, Gav? Oh, I've been painting more of the 1 in 35 Badger. Again, I ran out of time on that one, so we're going to have another go either today or tomorrow or Friday. So the Badger is still going ahead, it's still rumbling along in the background. What else? I've got a new project starting model wise. Yes, I know I shouldn't be doing another one, but I've got another one starting soon, which is the BMP3. That's going to be the Ukrainian BMP3 with a dio with some figures, and I've got some photo etch coming for that. So I'm going to, depending on postal strikes, when I get the photo etch through, it's one of those Voyager things where you get gun barrels and everything, and I thought we'd have a look at that all in one. I know I've already shown you the BMP unboxing, but I just want to plonk it down and say this is what is going on with that. The Kawanishi flying boat, that hasn't, that's only stalled due to paint, so I've got to put a big order in for figure paints and some modelling paint, but I have to wait to get some money back off these. So when I've done that, the Kawanishi will start rumbling forward as well, if Kawanishi flying boats rumble. So that's the 1 in whatever scale it was now, the very small scale, but it doesn't look ready for small scale, to be honest with you. It was a very large flying boat. I think that's everything. Oh, and the 1 in 35 scale figure, which I was almost going to flash under the camera to you, and I thought no, because I promised myself I'd do that on a separate video. He's all painted now, apart from one last go round, which I'll be doing tonight. Just, cleaning bits up and adding here and taking away there on it. So that's a 1 in 35 scale figure. I'm going to show him probably on his cork bung, because I've been putting photographs up on Instagram. I need to put that Instagram up on the video actually, but I've been putting him up there and on my Facebook. I am thinking of doing, I've got an old blog which I took down with all my old stuff on. There was never any interest in it, and it was really ancient work. So I removed that a week or so ago. I'm wondering whether I start a new blog just on my larger scale figures and my model kits, and then use but I put this type of work, anything that I do on my videos, I will tend to use those photographs and put them up on my Instagram as well. I've only been on Instagram a few months, but and the photographs are never particularly good, and I do have the trouble, I don't know what goes wrong. I take a photograph, and I've only do it with my old video camera. I take a photograph, and it's happened if I do it through my phone as well. I put it onto Instagram and it seems to blow them up, and they're that close, they look awful. So yeah, but when I think about it, I put stuff up on Instagram and on Facebook occasionally as well. Oh, right, thank you very much for sticking with this, it's greatly appreciated. As I say, we've got lots of more exciting projects coming up. When the Perry plastics are done, there'll be the Perry plastic Hussars, British Hussars, to be painted as well. And I've got ABs, I've got a couple of units of AB 18mm Napoleonics I've had in the box for ages. I've got some Wagram type Jena Alstred, Jena, we'll just say Jena Austadt. I've got some Prussian Cavalry, only a small unit of that I've been promising to do for about 6 years. I'd like to do those, and I've also got some Würzburg Infantry in the French style that I'd like to paint, and they're all for sale as well when they're finished. But yeah, I'd like to get onto them before I take on any other work. So look after yourselves. Oh, what am I talking about? We're doing the bust, the marine bust. Right, there's a few people that have been asking me have I started the marine bust. No, I haven't. I will be. I'm going to see if I can paint a bit under camera and then do a voiceover or talk. It won't be a full paint on. I don't see the point in that, because I don't think anybody's got the time to watch me for hours and hours paint a bust. But I'll go through, hopefully, each stage. So I've purposely, while I've been getting all this done and finished and doing them, I must admit I went straight onto the 1 in 35 scale figure because I just fancied doing one. But the bust, yeah, the bust is, I'll have the time now to properly work on the bust, and it won't be as long as take as long as it normally does, probably, because I'm free for time for the moment. So yeah, if you want to see me paint the bust on camera, I will be doing some bits and pieces just to give people the idea, because to be honest with you, with the busts and the display figures, I really, it's the stuff I like the most in life. I just don't do a lot of it because between the whole, you know, I'd like to do busts as a, you know, paint busts for commission work. I've just never done any before. I'm not that good, but I enjoy it, and especially this. I'm obviously better at the historical stuff than I am fantasy, but I just don't do enough of either to be any better. But I like to promote it. I like to say to people, you know, they're not as scary as they might look. Yes, they are all blown up in scale, but it's like these little guys. If you do enough of them, you will improve. And if you've got the, I don't know, if you want to learn, I always say with these guys, you know, you can stay doing the same stuff that you've done for years over and over again. And if it works, why fix it? I understand that. But sometimes you need to just try a different paint, or try a different style of painting, a different way of painting. I'm mixing it up all the time. I don't always work, especially if a client asks me for a repeat order and I've slightly changed my painting style. Never mind. But yeah, it's the same with the busts. I like the idea that maybe somebody might go out and buy one and give it a go, whatever genre it is. You know, they do anything out there. You can do historicals of military stuff, you can do non-military historicals, you know, civilian type stuff, you can do fantasy of every description out there, you can do horror stuff. I really never like that but it seems to appeal to some people. But yeah, you can do horror stuff, you can do sci-fi, you know, you name it, there is a bust or a large scale figure out there for you. So yeah, trying to get people interested in that. To be honest with you, more people are interested in this. So that's why you always still see this, because people enjoy it, and I like doing them. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't enjoy it. Right, some time ago I said that's it, I'm off. Oh, I am this time. Look after yourselves, Thank you very much for stopping by, and for always for your kind support of me personally. I really do appreciate it. Look after yourselves.